Hello my friends and welcome back to Italy a Place to Love YouTube channel. So today I'm going to talk about renovation houses. So houses that are in need of renovation, of restoration, what you prefer to call it, and why I don't recommend to buy a house or an apartment that is in need of renovation. There are many reasons why, anyway, I'm recommending personally to not buy this type of property, but then, anyway, we are all free to do whatever we want, so I'm not here to say just this is my recommendation as a buyer, as a person who like to invest in property. I generally when I buy a property, I'm always buying a property that needs as less works as possible. Always. That is my first rule. Then okay, there is an option that, for example, I might start a project. Okay, that is something that, for example, that I'm thinking about to buy something maybe extremely cheap on the market and to do it as a project, but more for fun than as an investment, because mainly, and now I enter in the topic of the video, mainly because the costs of a renovation nowadays are skyrocketing. Why I'm saying that skyrocketing? So, for example, if I had bought a house 10 years ago, 15 years ago, or 20 years ago, I can clearly say, I can officially say, it's enough to do a bit of research anyway on internet nowadays, that the prices to do a renovation 20 years ago, I mean, the price has doubled, if not even more than double. So, if I had bought an apartment 50 meters square, for example, and let's say that nowadays the price per square meter, because okay, we have to enter in the topic of there was an interesting comment under one of my videos, and I mean, he let me think about something that I'm usually thinking quite often. But anyway, I start reprocessing this topic simply because generally I never think about properties that have to be renovated. But anyway, the price per square meter, after I read this comment, I start checking on internet, and it was actually true. So, for example, we can say that in Italy, okay, let's talk about Italy because I'm here and now at the moment I'm thinking about the property market here in Italy. The price can go from 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 euro per square meters. And then the calculation, anyway, it's easy because if I have an apartment, let's talk about an apartment that that is 100 square meters, and we want to renovate this apartment, we know that we start minimum from 1,000 euro per square meter. Now, if the apartment is 100 square meters, mainly the calculation, we do it very quickly, 100,000 euro. Okay, then there are many different reasons why, for example, the price might drop a bit. Maybe because the condition of the apartment is not that bad. But let's start, for example, from an apartment, from a property that is in need of a complete restoration. So we are talking already about 100,000 euro. Maybe I'm buying this property, I'm already paying this property maybe a high price because, for example, maybe the apartment is in Milan. So in Milan, I'm not gonna buy a property that is cheap only because it's in need of a complete renovation, restoration. So basically, I'm gonna pay 150,000 euro for the property, and then I'm gonna put another 1,000 euro, 100,000 euro on this property, and so our price already skyrocketed to 250,000. And then, anyway, I'm talking about the basic price. I'm talking about the cheapest um, kind of renovation that I can do. Because if we said that we start from 1,000 euro per square meter and we can go even up to 2,000 euro per square meters, it means that the price, for example, for one apartment, obviously, it could depend by the standards that we are choosing for the renovation. Okay, this is another very important decision that you are doing when you decide to renovate. And so I decide to go, maybe it's in need the apartment or of a full restoration. So new floors, new frames, and for the windows, new pipes for all the house. All the electrical wires have to be redone completely because maybe the apartment is old. It's old. So the apartment is old. So the price, maybe I paid 150,000, then I decide to go for a fancy renovation and we add on top 200,000 euro. So our final price is gonna be 350,000. Okay, we live in a free world where everyone can choose whatever they want. And so if they want to go, for example, for a beautiful house, the house of their dreams, the price goes to this amount of money and hands up in the way that everyone is free to do whatever they want. Obviously, there are rich people who can spend all the money that they want. So for a kind of renovation, obviously it depends because 2,000 euro could be just the average because I can go for very high standards and for very high standards of renovation. So for the top quality, the top gamma, in Italy we say the gamma, can go even up to 4,000 euro per square meter. So, and now, sorry, because I switch a bit the topic, but now I want to go back to where I started. And so the fact that 20 years ago, the prices of the properties for a renovation was half or even less than half from now. So that's why, for example, if I'm thinking now, should I go for a property that the final price for 100,000, let's talk of a 100, let's go back to our example, the apartment in Milan of 100 square meters. And so we say that we go for the average kind of restoration and we make it brand new to what we love, to our standards. Now I'm not saying about compromising. I'm talking about really going to what I like, for example, because anyway there are so many things that then you have to go to choose to that you need to buy. I mean, when we start a renovation, and probably all the people who went through these type of things, so they always had to anyway to choose this style and this style and this and that. So for everything, for the bathroom, um, so many things. But let's go back to the fact that 20 years ago I would have spent less than half of what I'm spending now. And now I have 150,000 that I'm buying the apartment. Then because then you have to see obviously the price per square meter of a house in Milan. The price can be, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, maybe even up to 7,000 euro per square meter in Milan. So let's forget about the price, but let's say on average we are spending 150,000 euro for an apartment. We pay less. We're gonna pay a bit less per square meter simply because it has to be completely renovated. And then we are going to add on top 200,000 euro. Perfect. Our final price is 350,000 euro. Now, for example, if I had bought this apartment 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, or even 10 years ago, so first of all, maybe I would have paid less because the price per square meter 10 years ago, 15 or 20 years ago was cheaper. So I would have paid less. And then I've done a bit of research on internet. And anyway, 20 years ago, a renovation of an apartment would have cost me half of the prices that the price that I'm gonna pay now. What does it mean? It means that maybe I would have bought 10 years ago, let's say 10 years ago, instead of 150, 100,000 euro. And then half of the money that I'm gonna spend for the renovation today, that is 200,000 euro, I would have spent 100,000 euro. So for 200,000 euro, I would have made the house that of my dreams, the apartment of my dreams. So 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 10 years ago would have cost me 200,000 euro, and today I'm gonna pay 350,000 euro. I'm going to spend 150,000 euro more. Now, is it worth it to go and spend all this money? Again, um, again, let me say that we are free to do whatever we want. So I'm not saying no, you don't have to do it. I mean, people are free to do whatever they want. But the point here is that also now we have a final house now that is gonna apartment 100 square meters that is gonna cost 350,000 euro. Okay, now if I do my analysis on the house market, I'd say that we are a kind of a peak in Europe at the moment. Let me take all the Eurozone. I'm not going to the United States where I know a bit less the house market. I'm trying to follow, I follow some YouTubers, for example, who are talking about the house market in Florida, in California. Now, again, I know what's going on in Florida nowadays, North Carolina, so things are not. And when we are talking about houses and properties, we should also think about also what can happen. For example, now the storm, the hurricane in Florida, or again this typology of events that can happen, earthquakes, floodings, and all these typologies. So these things always have to be considered properly when we are buying a house. That's the first thing I do when I buy a property is to calculate all these type of risks, because obviously I don't want to go through these type of problems. But again, this is another video. This is can take maybe 10 videos to discuss about these things, and I want to keep talking simply to have a honest discussion with the people who are watching the videos. But so basically nowadays I go back to what would I pay for this property, and now I would pay. And again, I say that now we are at the peak. Now let me open another subject. But what if a bubble is gonna burst? Because obviously when the prices are at the peak of the market, okay, prices can keep going up. I'm not saying that prices 100% will crash, but if I do my analysis, my researches, so I would say, okay, Antonio, at the moment, even if you want to buy a property, could be a bit risky. Could be the fact that I'm going to overpay for a property. And to be honest, I don't want to. I need to make profit on the properties. Now, there are people who might not be happy to hear this, but this is one of my jobs, to make money with the properties. So why I know that many people maybe don't like who have my attitude, because okay, we are the one who are pushing the prices up, we are the one that will never allow the young generations. I don't feel touched at all, at all. I had some comments by in the past in one of my old previous video, very first videos, where a young guy was blaming me for uh, for him to never have a house or an apartment. I mean, it's not my fault. Go and ask to your government, to your politicians, why you cannot afford to have a house. Don't blame Antonio. Antonio has nothing to do. Antonio catch the opportunities. Then this is not everyone job. So obviously we all need a roof, we all need a house, and if I need a house for me, for my family, I will buy it. But me, if I have to do it as an investment, I would say stay, think twice, think three times, think even four times before you are going to buy now. Again, I'm not saying the bubble is gonna burst tomorrow. Maybe it's gonna happen in 2 years, in 3 years, but I mean, if you're following the market, the house market, you know that the prices are always going up and down. So it's up to us then, okay, there are interest rates, there are so many things to consider. And also, anyway, again, renovation, going back to the renovation, the very last point, why the renovation prices went up that mad lately, in particular in the last 4 years. I don't know. Simply, I mean, I might think, I can presume the reasons why, for example, obviously all the things that are happening in the world, they created the inflation that we went through, for example, and the inflation also affected the house market, not only on the price of the property itself, but also affected the prices of renovation. And so the prices of the materials went up badly, badly. I don't know why. I mean, I repeat, I can guess why, and I don't want to mention because I want to stay out from certain kind of topics. But the fact that the prices of the materials are going up, it's a fact. It's a matter of fact. So nobody can contradict what I'm saying now. Then, so the prices of the materials are going up. I even heard and read about many complaints about people who started renovation. I mean, they didn't even start it, but they couldn't find labor. They couldn't find someone because they're all quite, they're all, I don't know, maybe many companies are shutting down, they close, so it's hard to find as well. I was reading yesterday of an American woman who bought in Italy, in Apulia region, and it's 4 months that she's renting because she said it's very hard to find someone who can do this job. And not only then you have to have someone who you can trust, who is doing, not just taking the job, starting the job and never finishing the job. This is another risk of a renovation. I'm talking about Italy, yeah. I'm not talking about for all the world at the moment, because I live here and I heard about complaints everywhere about who started renovation, and then this company or these locals or these people who started the work at one stage disappear, for example. Or maybe because they ask probably because they ask very low money, and then they realize that the budget, so then you have to go through solicitor. So situation is extremely sensitive. The topic is very sensitive when we are going through a renovation. So I said these things. I said the prices of the material. That's what, and the price of the labor as well. I mean, the price of the materials are going up, but also nearly double in 10 years, in 15 years, nearly double also the labor per hour. So everything is inflating at the moment. And so now, to close my video, I go back to the fact that if you have to buy a property now, try to find a property. Now, I will always push for the cheapest property. In these times, go and buy the cheapest property. Start investing. If you really want to buy something, um, go for the cheapest property. Something that you don't really have to ask for a big mortgage, or try to compromise simply because the prices might go down. And so obviously, um, better if I spend less than if I spend a big amount of money. So this is it, guys. This is it, my friends. And also, anyway, try to buy something that doesn't have to be renovated. Maybe you can wait. Let me say, I bought this house where I'm living now, and I spent only 3,000 euro, but simply because I really wanted to, I just wanted to knock down one wall. I wanted to repaint the house, or the house. It's normal. You enter in a new house, give a good paint, refresh the house itself, blah blah blah. Then I had to, because I destroyed this wall. We realized the electrical implant was very old, so I decided to partially do it. But I know it's something that I have to do in the future. So it's something that before or later, for example, the plumbing system wasn't that bad, but all the electrical wires, I've done half of the house. Okay, the attic here was built after, so the condition of the attic is kind of brand new. It's in a very good shape. The roof was built recently, so it's in a very good shape. But the ground floor, for example, the electrical wires in the bedroom are not the best. I didn't change it. I said, okay, I can wait a bit. Um, I can wait. Maybe the situation is gonna change before or later. But you can delay. For example, you buy something cheap. You know something has to be done in the house, but you might delay 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years. I remember when Uh, I bought in Dublin one apartment, for example. I knew from the very first day that the bathroom had to be done. Bathroom was a must. I wait 6 years. I wait 6 years before I've done the bathroom, and then when I've done it, then I've done the floor as well. It cost me what it cost me. Then obviously I bought the apartment when the prices were very cheap. I sold it at the end of last year of 2023, and so on. This is the life or who is investing in properties, and so on. I'm always looking for hunting for for something good on the market, and so if I see. And then I close saying about this project, for example, that could be the project, but if I'm gonna do something that has to be completely renovated from scratch, it's only because I already know someone, for example, who can help me here in the area, and I'll do it simply just for fun, and in a very long time. For example, I say in 5 years' time, because I don't have to live there. So, okay, we're gonna do the works in the weekend during the spare time. When we have spare time, I go myself with another guy. Okay, we'll go. I'll go to choose the material. That, but because I decide to make it maybe in 5 years' time. So that's a project. Then in 5 years' time, whatever. I'm gonna see how much I spent in material, in labor, and then to see the value itself. But if I'm going to buy something that I'm gonna spend 5,000 euro, and it's possible to find something here in very bad condition that has to be completely renovated for 5, 10,000 euro, then I will do my calculation. I'm going to see how much I spent, blah blah blah, how much I paid in labor and material and this and that. Then I will have my final amount, and then if I'm able to sell, at least making a little profit, let me say, I may sell without making profit. I may sell with making a good profit, or I might sell it without making profit. If I'm selling without making profit, I'm not gonna sell it and I'll wait. But this is only because it's a project. Okay, my friends, so I think I already spoke too much. Again, I give my recommendation. Try to buy something nowadays if you really want to buy something where you are not gonna spend a lot of money because we don't know about the bubble. Something that doesn't have to be renovated because you are compromising. Then slowly, time by time, during the days, during the time, you can do your works, and then uh, so basically, if the prices are not gonna go down, you are fine. If the prices are dropping, you may lose, but in proportion, you are losing much less than if you are buying a big a property for a big amount of money. Okay, my friends, I hope I said everything in this video. I might reopen this topic if there are more questions under the video in the comment section. And so, from Italy, a place to love, I really wish you a good day. Bye!